welcome to Talking TSM, the Game House's talk show about TSM's LCS team. I'm Robert Haynes, your host and your guide into the world of TSM's LCS team. And I've had about a half a day to really contemplate what is going on right now. And the episode that's coming out on Monday, that has come out on Monday, I should say. I feel like is a little bit more validated from what I'm seeing on Reddit, and I'll explain that here in a second. The LCS is taking the week off, but I have promised you guys 2 episodes a week during the season, and guess what? Just because they take a week off does not mean that I do. I normally do if I need to, but I don't need to. I'm back home and things are busy, but good. So I'm gonna take this will be a shorter episode for sure. Just because I think the frustrations I had were already explained, and it is interesting. I've even gone and looked at NAR stats since yesterday with all the games played. The LPL is the only one. They have like a 56% win percentage. The LCK has like a 39% win percentage on NAR. The LEC has like 50, and we're down to 25%. Now, I want to say on the NAR situation, obviously he is getting played a lot. I don't understand why. It feels like we have enough sample games to where it's not a good pick and just not one that's worth playing right now. But whatever. I still think, there are teams that are getting creative. It feels like, already things are starting to settle in. I really would love for a patch to change. I'm tired of Azir and Corki already. I'm tired of Gnar. I think the bot meta is pretty fun and interesting. I think the jungle meta is pretty solid. But the solo lanes need a little bit of something. So hopefully, Riot Games will see this and start trying to make some changes. I wouldn't mind if they just nerfed Gnar. I mean, it's not like people play him that much in solo queue anyways, so just nerf him enough to where, he'll stop getting played in the top lane, so we can have something more interesting. With that, we're not gonna look at next week's games yet. That will be for the episode a week from now. We will be looking at kind of digesting what's going on with this team, and I was like kind of wait to talk about these things, but I figure we might as well go into them now. So Hyper, by the way, has been taken off of the team. I think I said this last episode, but I'll reiterate it for Anda. I believe Anda either has played with not played with, but like played under X Smithy. I think it's cool to see him get another chance. I don't know that, he's going to be somebody who gets any playing time or anything really, but he is somebody who could help bring some stability and maybe like can work his way into a coaching job after this. I don't know. Let me check. How old is Anda? Let me see. Anda's 26. I mean, technically he's not too old to play, but that just feels unlikely that he will make it back to the LCS unless he just has a total rebirth, which would be cool. And he's definitely still not going to go in for Spica. So, I really like the change. I just don't think Hyper's been it since maybe his first couple games with TSM. I do believe that they were... I really genuinely believe they were trying to get like a Will or a Ken B or somebody like that to play, with them. But they couldn't grab whoever it was, so they just stuck with Hyper kind of because they had to. It's just not great. Not great at all. So Uh, hopefully this will help. Hopefully this will give Soul, and Instinct and Shenyi, should he be staying, although it sounds like that could potentially be a problem as well. And then maybe take over still young enough to where he could, become something solid. So we'll see. I don't know if this move will matter too much, but something, again, as seems to be the trend, something had to change. Something did change. And Hyper's out. Parth has also said something. And again, I just find his responses to be interesting because he left the team. And for me now at this point, it feels like he must have been at an impasse, like a pretty big one, with the team back in February or January when things were getting started for the split. I still don't really understand why he left when this was the team that he was trying to put together. And then he goes on to kind of crap on him constantly. And it's like, bro, like you orchestrated a lot of this. What are you talking about? Why are you being so critical of this team that you put together? But whatever. This team, at least, he did not have a hand in. And he tweets, "I can't watch any more TSM games this season. It's too depressing to see this team consistently play worse than the sum of their parts." That feels like pretty consistently what TSM has done, what most of NA does do. But he's right. I mean, Huni, Spica, Maple, Tactical. Mia is playing about as what I would expect after a good week 2. Week 3 was terrible for Mia. But I generally agree. I mean, I just don't really understand how this team is consistently being put behind in draft and then not executing well at every. I mean, the Dignitas game was kind of like an amalgamation of everything that is wrong with this team right now. They are great at getting early leads. Their laning is pretty solid. Speak is able to do what he needs to do, but then they just throw it all away. And it makes me wonder what does the coaching staff have to do? What is the rest of the team have to do for some of them to figure it out? I mean, even Huni, like, as much as everybody wants to crap on him, like, he got a nice lead yesterday. Even on this NAR, he's consistently getting a good lead. He's just not executing in team fights. They're not planning team fights around his ultimate correctly, or his mega form and ultimate, really, correctly. And, I mean, they're just constantly out of position. It really, truly feels like the only people who are even kind of doing anything right now are Spica and Maple. And that's probably the main reason they even have 2 wins, is because of those 2 players. I shouldn't even say probably. It is the main reason that they have 2 wins. And what's worse is our future. Instinct has looked terrible since we last really talked about him. Soul has not looked much better, but again, I expected a bit of a drop-off for him. There's more tape on him now, and teams are starting to figure him out. Hyper, thankfully, is gone. I hope he figures it out somewhere else, but just for this team-wise, he needed to be gone. Takeover's still okay. Like, he's been playing fine. I don't think he's better than Maple, but, he's fine. And then Shinyi's looked not great. Seemingly getting frustrated. So I felt like the future was really bright. It felt like they had a nice plan in place. But like after, basically week 1.5, which I know it's only been a week and a half, but I mean, it's been a week and a half of just absolute crap yet again. And Parth is, at least in this regard, right. I mean, it is tough to watch this team right now. Now, I'm going to watch every game. I may turn off some of the games if they're getting their butts handed to them. But it just feels like this team lacks confidence. It feels like they are lacking cohesion. And, the last 3 games have just been horrible. I mean, horrible. We go back to Sunday, June 26th. You lose to Golden Guardians with a horrible draft. Then you go to Saturday's game where you don't even get a kill. Not one kill. Terrible draft. You have an okay draft against Dignitas, and you just throw it all away. I'm gonna check this real quick. I want to make sure that I get this right, because I'm curious to see how many kills TSM now have in their last 3 games. All right, there it is, Golden Guardians. Let me see here. TSM have a total of 13 kills in their last 3 games. 13 kills in their last 3 games. They're not even averaging 5 kills a game right now. Since their big win, big win over Team Liquid. A win that should have catapulted them into the next level, into a potential 3rd place spot that's wide open, with CLG losing twice this week. I mean, I'm sorry, but 13 kills just isn't getting it done. And I go back again to the coaching staff, because then we have K's that apparently tweeted that got deleted. Honestly, cannot publicly say much. Let's enter next week. Don't know. I don't know what that means. But on the real, the results aren't acceptable, to be honest. Already issued a player complaint about player intensity. It's the first time in my career it feels like this solution. Obviously, Case is pissed because his grammar is just gone out the window. I have no idea what some of this means. I don't know who he's reporting this player intensity about to. I'd have to imagine this is either Spica or Huni at this point, or maybe even somebody down on Academy, Shenyi maybe. But I just am. I'm just this coaching staff is a mess too. I mean, I really, Chawi just seems to have no control. I would love for a TSM Legends to prove me wrong, but he just doesn't seem like the guy. Every TSM Legends I've watched, everything, he just doesn't have that commanding presence. And if Bjergsen couldn't get some of these guys to, do what they need to do, then how is he going to? I mean, no offense to Chawi in that regard, but Bjergsen is Bjergsen. He is Chawi. I know it sounds really stupid when I say it like that, but one man has dominated the LCS, has played with and against most of the players that he was coaching last year. I think losing him did so much more than just having to play against him. It did so much more than losing some fans. This team has to find its identity. And I said it yesterday when I was upset, and now that I'm more calm, I still believe this. I would blow it up. Unless if this team can find it really deep down and trying to, push forward and claim some big wins and maybe go on a nice little run in the playoffs, I blow it all up. Blow it all up. Don't keep any of them. Spica seems to not be happy here. I'm sure he wants out. Let him go. Maple, I don't care. I mean, I'd even get rid of Glenn at this point. Like, he's got a little bit of a sketchy past. I mean, I'm glad he's been more communicative and some other stuff, and I'm sure he's probably doing the best that he can with what he's got. And I'm sure Chawi could be a better coach in a different situation. K's as well. But I am of the opinion that a full, complete teardown and rebuild would be better than trying to compete every split like this. Because if you're going to, quote-unquote, compete, and this is the best product, again, we went over this yesterday, 7 and 18, 28% win percentage. We are winning 3 out of 10 games, essentially. Maybe 1 of 4. That's just not going to cut it. That's just not going to cut it. Especially for a franchise that is so well known. And, everybody's like, oh, well, maybe TSM's giving up on their LCS team. Like, why? Why would you do that? It's the most valuable franchise you have. People don't understand. The amount of money that this spot is worth is astronomically more than anything else that TSM owns. This spot matters. These fans matter. Most of the money from TSM comes from the LCS team because all of their fans, not all their fans, a lot of their fans are the ones who are buying the merch, are the ones who are watching the videos, who are supporting their other teams. When you go to TSM's Reddit, what team is talked about most? It's TSM's LCS team. It's not their Valorant team. It's not their Fortnite signings. It's not their Apex team, as good as they are. It's not their Rainbow Six team, as good as they are. It's the LCS team. It's where it started. And it's where TSM need to put their focus. And I trust that Dominic is going to do that. And if not, then what is happening? Then maybe Reggie does need to step in. Do it so without being an asshole about it. But this team is important, not just to me, not just to you who are listening, but this team is important for the LCS. This team is important for competitive League of Legends in North America overall. This team is just too important for it to be thrown to the wayside. And if they're worried, oh, well, we're not getting our money's worth out of these players, then why do you own teams at all? Because you're certainly not getting your money's worth out of any of the other teams in leagues. I mean, Apex Legends is a great game, but does it draw in a ton of views? No. No, it does not, especially in the competitive side. The gaming side it does, but competitive-wise, no. Where these teams are making their money is their sponsorships and their like merchandising and stuff. And everybody's like, oh, TSM are firing people left and right and blah, blah, blah. Like, TSM's smart, honestly, guys. Like, I know people don't want to hear this, but they are preparing themselves for the future because the esports bubble is on its last legs here. A lot of these teams are struggling to get investments. TSM are realizing this and are trying to find a way to become, to go in the black or at least be even, which is technically in the black. But most of these teams and everything, they run red. Okay, I don't care if you're TL. I don't care if you're C9, 100 Thieves. All these owners will tell you that, generally speaking, their LCS teams run in the red in terms of the money that is returned for the amount of money that they put in. So the excuse to me of, well, TSM doesn't want to spend money, they just aren't finding the right talent to be able to. And plus, they also had a complete turnover in, well, everything. The entire organization. And that takes time to recover from. We're not just the LCS team anymore where all the big minds on the team can just refocus and put it all on this team. Like, Dominic is not just the LCS esports vice president. He is the TSM, entire TSM esports vice president. So he has to deal with all the teams, all the players. But like I said, there is one that needs to be focused on, as it is arguably the most important one. It may not be the most successful one currently, but it is definitely the most important one. And when you have your coaches coming out here tweeting about, y'all can't say much publicly, the results aren't acceptable, which is good, that's fair. But then he's talking about player complaints. You're going to stir up a storm, man. And good for you for at least communicating something. Something this team has struggled with mightily. I'm really just... Like, I think I said it a little bit last year, and I said it, especially at the beginning of this year, like, we as fans, if we are true, hardcore TSM fans, like, we're just going to have to suffer through this right now. I really felt like there was hope. I really did. I saw the rosters, there was a plan in place, but it's just, every time the plan is in place, it just seems to kind of burn down around us. And it feels like sometimes you need to just have a full mental reset, right, for the whole organization within this LCS team. I mean, if I'm TSM right now, truly, if I'm TSM, I am, if you don't feel like Soul is ready yet, which he's a big personality, obviously you guys have seen him. I interviewed him. Most of you either saw it on Reddit or you saw it here on YouTube. Was a great interview. This kid is got a ton of potential. He is a kid at this point, so please forgive me on that one. But he has a ton of potential, and he's very bright. He's a bright personality. TSM need to either sign a 1 year something or other with a top laner to just give Soul a little more time to get ready, because I don't think he's ready for the jump yet. Now they could bring him up and just let him play with Spica and see how it works. If Huni's just not getting it done, which is fine to me, because I mean I'm sure it's hard as Soul to be playing with Hyper as your jungler. But something, there's he might be the only player I would say they should keep out of the entire 10 that they have. Spica just, I think, is just mentally boomed. I think this organization has, and all these situations have affected him greatly. He is not he's not without fault, I'm sure, but he just seems mentally boomed with this organization, and that's a huge shame, because he is an excellent player who can absolutely be top level. But if they can find a way to reset his mental and reinstitute confidence within the organization for him, it's pretty clear to me that he probably doesn't want to be here. So, I know we go back and forth on this. I get it. You can go back a couple episodes and be like, Rob, what are you talking about? You were just saying Spica just needs to, they need to build around him and Maple and bring up Soul and Instinct and whoever the hell is going to be at support. And you know what? I would love for that to happen. I'd love for that to be the case. But Instinct just is really struggling right now. Soul is not doing too much better. And the LCS team is really, really, really struggling. Not as much as the Academy team that's 4-17 or whatever. But there's a clear disconnect. There's a clear from top to bottom, there are clear issues right now. And I'm sure it's really hard to have this continue to happen. So, we're going to continue on. Us, as in all of us on Talking TSM and myself. We're just going to have to suffer through this and try to start finding the bright spots. Hopefully there will be some more. Hopefully this break this week will be instrumental into getting this team in the right position. I'm sure this is at the top of Dominic's list to get fixed. And I know you guys are all frustrated, probably as much or more than I am. But I will do my best to be a beacon of hope. I will do my best to try to find some positives to talk about. I will try my best to be positive in the sense of being a way to vent myself and then hopefully for you guys as well. And maybe by some random chance, somebody is listening at TSM. And I don't care about my opinions, but I mean more just listening to the fans. We will support this team. We love this team. And I know you guys are trying. But something's got to give. And something needs to change. And if it were me, if they said, Rob, you're going to be the next GM of TSM, I would lay out a 3-year plan. I would explain the players that we're going for, the types of players that we are going for, the ones we need to build around. And I would make it my objective within the next year and a half to find the new face of TSM LCS. They're out there somewhere. I don't know who it is yet. Maybe I'll do a little research on that for next Monday's episode. But it's got to be somebody. Somebody who wants a chance. Somebody who's hungry. I mean, if you become the face of TSM, you potentially can become the face of the league. So somebody's going to bite at that opportunity. I don't know who it is yet. But it needs to happen soon, or TSM are going to fall into that middling irrelevant stage for a while, which is about where they're at right now. You guys aren't going to like my power rankings when they come out this week. It's not going to be a fun conversation for any of us. So, yay power rankings and other things. Maybe I'll write an article about TSM needing to make changes from top to bottom. Maybe that'll get their attention. Either that or they're going to ban me from being able to talk to them anymore. I don't know at this point. They can't see that I love this team, then, whatever. I'm a Reds fan. My managers and the people who own that team don't give a crap about diehard fans like myself. So I'm used to it now. I'm used to it. It's a resiliency kind of thing. Fight against the powers that be in terms of the LCS team. They'll figure it out one day. Hopefully before I'm dead. Sorry, guys. That's a morbid joke. I there's nothing wrong with me right now that I don't think of, at least. It's more of just the I've always wondered my entire life with the Reds and the Bengals whether or not I get to see a championship in my lifetime. I'm 30 years old now, and I've seen my team go to a championship one time. I've had technically 60 chances in my lifetime, if you count both teams. And we're 1 for 59 so far with 0 wins. And I think we've only made the playoffs. Well, we've made the playoffs actually a lot more than they did in the 90s. So at least I got that going for me. I've always had TSM to fall back on too. And now they're falling onto hard times. But we'll get through it. We're all going to get through it. We're going to be strong. We're going to support this team. And hopefully our support will show to them that we want this team to be good. We'll still be here once they get it figured out. That's my hope. If you like this show, take a second to like, subscribe, and comment if you're watching on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit that bell icon, okay? Let's continue to make this the #1 TSM podcast. I see a couple of you are still leaving reviews, especially on iTunes or the podcast store, or whatever they call it on Apple. If you could do more of that, that would be awesome. Very much appreciated. Please share this with your friends. You can find the official tweets from me and the Game House at TGH Robert Haynes and at TGH Esports. Head to thegamehouse.com. There will be plenty of content coming out this week from this guy. So if you guys are looking for questions to be answered, things to be talked about, I'm going to do my best to answer those and talk about them for you. With that, thank you for tuning in. This show comes out every Monday and Thursday, even during this little break, and is still exclusively for your TSM ear holes. I'm Robert Haynes, and this has been Talking TSM. See y'all on Monday.